Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're tinkering around with Gauntlet Dark Legacy. We have this board set up right now in my Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet, and it's set up running on a standard Brez monitor right now, and we got it set up for 8-way joysticks for 2 players. And this is a board set I got probably a couple years back, got an excellent deal on, and it works absolutely perfectly. I haven't had any trouble out of it. Looks like it has a, it doesn't look like an original quantum drive. Somebody's put a quantum drive in here. I don't think that's an original. I'll have to take a look at it and see. Doesn't look like an original, but somebody has put a copy of Gauntlet Dark Legacy on it. And let's see, 4.3. It's a 4.3 gig. That may be an original. I'll have to check out the model number on it, but when I got a hold of it, it was all set up exactly like it is now, and somebody had just wrote good on here, and it's hard to see now, but it had some permanent marker there. It said GDL Gauntlet Dark Legacy 2.41, and that is the version of Gauntlet Dark Legacy that's on this drive and running on this board set right now, 2.41. But it runs absolutely great. Some of my past videos I'd made back before I had a little higher resolution camera showed this board set, and it looks like it has been serviced by HAP Controls. There's HAP Controls service stickers on every single piece of the board, and it all works great, so haven't had any trouble out of it. But I've just got it set up through the dip switches to run on a standard res, and I can plug it into a JAMA harness and run it on this standard res monitor right here in my Mortal Kombat 1 with 8-way joysticks, and it actually looks pretty good, I think, on standard res. Looks pretty nice. But this monitor looks pretty good anyway, but you know, a lot of people act like they wouldn't want to run Gauntlet Dark Legacy on standard res, but I think it looks pretty good. And I've also got it running in the Gauntlet Legends cabinet over here, and this is the exact same game, Gauntlet Dark Legacy, and I have installed a chipset and a hard drive from a kit that I had, and I had bought it from the same guy that I bought that board set from right there. And just recently I installed it in my board set that's inside the cabinet here, and I just wanted to confirm that it worked because I've had it for a long time, and it works absolutely perfectly too. But this is version 2.4. The other one over there is 2.41, and you can see right here, version DL 2.4. And what we're going to be doing though, we've got 2 boxes here, and these are full of older hard drives. And these are ones that I usually keep for working on old PCs and stuff, the LAN rigs and stuff upstairs. Now it starts playing some sound. But anyway, I've got some various size hard drives in here, many of them. Let me ease this box down. And see, I got some addresses here, so got to be careful. But these are Maxter 8 gig drives in here, and I've got several of them left. I've installed some. I thought I had 12 in here, but I think I bought, it's either a box of 8 or 10 that I had. There's still 6 drives in there that haven't been used, but they have been tested. All of them work just fine. And they came packed just like this when I got them from a seller a few years ago, and I just wanted to use them as backup drives for the LAN computers. And I did test them, and I labeled them. All of them worked good. Seemed like there's maybe one noisy one in the whole lot, and I've got it labeled somewhere in there. And the rest of them that were in this box, they're installed in some of the LAN rig computers upstairs. But we're going to use probably these here. These are the larger capacity. The ones in this box here, well, some of them are smaller capacity, but there is some 16 giggers. I think 3 identical 16 giggers in here that I got from a flea market, and they look absolutely brand new, like somebody had taken them out of some type of TiVo boxes or something. And all I had was just a small amount of data on there with some old video files, and I wiped them clean. They look like brand new. They're 3 16 giggers. Got this old Quantum Bigfoot here, come out of a LAN rig. Let's see, I've got several other small drives in there, anywhere from like 3.2 gigabyte up to about probably 8 gigabyte. And I think I've got here on the end, I think I've got a 20 gigger in there. But any of these would be okay to put an image on for one of these Gauntlet games. And I want to try to make me a backup of version 1.6 for Gauntlet Gauntlet Legends, and version either 2.4 or 2.41 to back up for my Gauntlet Dark Legacy boards here that I have. Now the latest version is 2.52, and I have seen some postings and heard that people have put 2.52, the latest version, on a hard drive image and run it on a set of chips that were installed on a Vega 777 setup that you know, was only like 2.4 or something, the boot ROMs and all. And they said it ran fine, but you know, I'm not absolutely positive about that. So, you know, if I can't get some updated chips for 2.52, I'd kind of rather just stick with the version that was already on the drive. So if I don't make my CHD files, which is like an image of the hard drive, if I don't make it from the original drives here, then I might look for, you know, some images of that version online. But I already have 2.52 on my computer, and I have version 1.6 of Legends on my computer, the CHD files. So we're going to use CHDMAN.execute that comes with some of the versions of MAN that you can download. And I'm using an older version of it because I've heard it's a little less buggy, and I don't need some of the newer functions. Some of the newer ones I think can convert to CHDs to a newer format and everything if you're, you know, wanting to use it in newer MAMEs. Well, we just want to burn copies of these CHDs that exist onto some hard drives and have them as backups. And I want to ship a couple of them off, you know, one of each, Gauntlet Dark Legacy and Gauntlet Legends, to Luke Morse 1. Everybody knows Luke Morse 1. And he needs some for some board sets that he has that have dead drives. And he didn't want to have to pay for the exorbitant amount of shipping that was going to be charged from here in the U.S. from a seller. And he couldn't really get the seller to get back in contact with him properly. And instead of buying those, I just said, hey, you know, if I can get these to work, and I can make me some backups, you want me to make you some backups of the drives and just, you know, ship them out to you. And since these are sitting around right now, these drives aren't doing anything, I said, you know, if you can pay for shipping, then I'll ship them out to Japan for you. And hopefully by the time they get there, they'll still be in good shape. You know, I'll package them really safely, and hopefully he can get them and they'll work with what he's got. And he's already got version 2.52 of Gauntlet Dark Legacy and version 1.6 of Gauntlet Legends, so hopefully we can make that work. But we're going to try that now, and may use that PC there. That's just a PC I had built, I think, for my sister and my nephew a while back, but they had got some other PCs before I had this one finished. And it's just made from various parts, basically. But it works fine. I've got Windows XP installed on it. And that's one of my wife's old PCs. It's got Windows XP on it. Either one of those could work, and we'll hook it up temporarily and just use one of the IDE connections or one of the connectors on one of the IDE ribbon cables and connect up one of these drives. And we'll put the CHD either, we can either do it off of a burnt disc, like a burnt CD, or we can transfer it over through the network or something like that and put it on the hard drive. It'd probably work better, you know, I'd say straight off the hard drive with CHDMAN.execute put on the same hard drive, and just transfer it over and make us new images on those Maxter 10 gigs. So it's probably what we're going to try to do now, and I've rambled on long enough, and I'll just get to tinkering with it and I'll show you some of the results. We're transferring the CHDs to do these hard drives with, and it's transferring like a 1.5 gig CHD for Gauntlet Dark Legacy. And right now, as you can see, it's not even halfway done. It's got 22 minutes remaining. And the only other thing I'm transferring right now is CHDMAN.execute along with it, and just putting it on a backup partition that I have on the main hard drive that's in this system. I did a backup partition in case I wanted to make a backup once I got XP installed, because this one was real finicky when I was trying to install XP. It took me several tries. Finally got it done, and I made a little backup partition. I figured I'd make a ghost image or some type of image of that hard drive on there in case I ever needed to restore this. But anyway, once we have that done, then we're going to take one of the 10 giggers out of one of those boxes over there and run the CHDMAN program on it, trying to transfer that Gauntlet Dark Legacy version 2.52 CHD to it, and see if we can get that image built. And we'll try it out on the board set that's running in the MK1 cab right now. So just wait, and it's just ticking along slowly and steadily, but Yeah, the USB ports are just slow on this one. These are like USB 1 or 1 point something. That flash drive would work a lot faster with USB 2.0, but this machine just has the older ports, and that motherboard has the older ports and everything, so we'll just wait patiently. Okay, the 22 minutes is up, and the Gauntlet Dart Legacy CHD has been transferred, and CHDMAN 0.83. It's an older version, but I've heard of people having success, so I don't care if it's the newest version as long as it works. Got that transferred to the backup partition on the main drive in this Windows XP machine here. We're going to remove our flash drive here in a second, and we're going to install this. It's a 10 gig Maxter. Of course, it's an older drive, but these have been wiped, and I had them for backups. I bought them from a fellow on eBay, and I have used some of them. They work fine. There were a couple of them that were noisy in the box of drives that I bought, but I had those marked, and I've got them separated out. This is a quiet one, and it works well. I tested it actually all the way back in 08, so it's been in storage since 2008, but it hasn't been used for the last 5 years. So I mean, any other 10 gig or 20 gig that you've got recently that somebody has put an image on is a possibility. You know, possibility it was used all the way up within the last couple of years in a system somewhere or something. But these have been stored in bubble wrap and packed well in a box and in a climate controlled environment, and they've been sitting there for a while since I tested them, so I don't really think these drives have seen that much use. We're going to go ahead and install that, and I may just pop the CD-ROM IDE cable off and use it, or I'll just remove it from the secondary IDE position on the motherboard and just hook another cable up temporarily. But either way, we'll be losing our CD-ROM drive for just a little bit while we're doing this, and you know, I'd just like to use a whole separate channel for this transfer. I think it'll work better. We do have another connector down in there. If you can see, there's another connector on that other IDE ribbon cable. So we could set this drive to slave and transfer the CHD image that way, but I'd rather leave it set for master, just like the other IDE drive on the primary IDE channel, and just have two masters and transfer from one channel to the other. I just like doing that better, and may actually make the transfer faster. Okay guys, got the system up and running with the Maxter drive installed, and I just have it there temporarily. It's on some bubble wrap that was wrapped around it, and it's just laying on some of the cables. It's perfectly well supported. It's not going anywhere. If you move it around, it's going to move the whole system before it moves anything, so it's supported well. And I actually just pulled the ribbon cable off the Gauntlet Dart Legacy board set to use for this, because the long ribbon cable I had was actually connected to both the DVD drive and the CD drive in this system, and they were pretty hard to route the first time I put it in, so I just left those intact, and I just disconnected the other end from the motherboard. And this one little short cable, it's not even about 8-9 inches long. It just has one connector on the end. I just connect it straight to the secondary IDE channel and to the hard drive. And if you're ever doing that, just make sure you get your red wire there on one side of the ribbon cable, get it connected to pin 1 on your hard drive. You can flip it upside down and look, and you know, at the front, well, at the beginning and the end of the pin run, you should see like a 1 or a 2 on the end that the red stripe should line up with. The other end will have a 39 or a 40. And if that doesn't help you, just know that pin 1 is always closest to the power connection. So your power connection, your Molex connector there that gives it power, it's always going to be right beside where pin 1 is on the IDE connection. And we got that all connected, and you know, it may sound loud to you, but we got a lot of fans running here, and we got 2 disk drives running. But this drive is actually very quiet. It's not making hardly any of that noise, but it sounds really good, and the system recognized it. I did pre-format these before I put them into storage. It's formatted with FAT32, and it shows there. This is under disk management, and if you can't find that in Windows XP, sometimes you have to go down to your taskbar and right click, and you go through some options there, and you can enable for administrative tools to be shown on your start menu and in your programs. And you go into there and you find computer management, and underneath there's over there on the left hand side, there's an option down there at the bottom. It's the next to the last. That's disk management. And when you're using this program CHDMAN, you have to know the identity of the drive you're going to use, the physical drive. and it's shown right there all the drives on the system. And the reason you see so many, there's a disk 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those aren't actual disks. Those are slots for the compact flash, SD, all those, memory stick, all those slots that are on the front of this system. I didn't disconnect them. I could have disconnected them. Some people might want to do that to limit their confusion, but I know exactly what they are. They're just all those little memory card slots, and they show as drives when you have them connected to a USB port on the inside on the motherboard. But those are drives F, G, I, and J right now, and it shows as removable, so there's nothing in there. But right now, our main disk in here, it looks like it's a 40 gigger. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but it says 37.27 gigabytes, and that's disk 0. Physical disk 0 has partition C and partition H. It's showing up as, usually it's partition D, but since I have this other disk 1 in there, it's showing the master drive is the D drive. But anyway, the backup partition is only 4 gigabyte right now, and it's got the files that we need to use, the CHD file and the program we're going to run. And we want to try to transfer it to this D drive, and we've got to remember that the Maxter D drive, that's our target drive, is physical disk 1. And you can see right there, if we'll focus on it, the Maxter drive is physical disk 1. If we keep that in our mind, then when we go to the command prompt, we won't have any problems. So what we got to do right now is go to the command prompt. I'll see if I can do this with you guys watching. Might be a little tricky. Okay. Got to go to all programs, and under accessories there's C, command prompt. Open yourself a command prompt, and it usually starts right wherever you were at. Right now I'm in documents and settings in the C drive, so I'm gonna have to change to C. I have to change to H. Oops, I'm using the wrong keyboard. I've got two keyboards in front of me. I'm using my main keyboard. I got one in my lap, so. Okay, let's see. We're changing to H, and if you're not used to command line, that's kind of old school for me. It's kind of second nature. I still remember most of it, but just hit H, colon, and press enter, and boom, you're logged into the H drive, basically. So if you can see what I did there. Logged into the H drive, and now we can type dir for directory, and it'll show us what's in there. And there's only 2 files. Got one large file, which is the Gauntlet Dart Legacy CHD that holds the image there, and that's it right there. And then right above it you see CHDMAN, it's version 0.83 execute, and you got to run that file. And when you run that file, you can run it, if you just want to see CHDMAN, just type it in without the .exe on the end and press enter. Actually, let's see, did I do it right? Oh, 83, sorry. Here's a quick tip if you don't know this. If you accidentally make a syntax error, just press the up arrow and it'll give you your last command back, and all I need to do is add 83, and this is from my old DOS days. Press enter, and it gives you commands and stuff that you can put in, or the syntax to use of CHDMAN, so that you can do different things like create hard drive images or extract hard drive images. And right now we want to extract, so we're going to use the -extract syntax, CHDMAN. So it'll be CHDMAN space -extract, and there's some other things you got to put in, and I actually haven't used this before, so I'm going to have to look on my other PC here right quick. Let's see. Okay, so what we want to do is say CHDMAN. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I want to see if I can expand this. That'll work somewhat. Anyway, I meant to go full, so let me see. Let me retry this. Okay, let me do Alt Enter. There we go. We'll go full screen on this, like we're in DOS. There we go. See if I can back up on this now. Maybe you guys can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. Sorry, I don't have my tripod out, but just kind of doing this as I go. But anyway, CHDMAN space -extract, And let's see. I'm just looking at the syntax to use whenever I'm putting it in, the format of this that you have to put in to extract, because I haven't done it before. So anyway, it's Gaunt DL. Let's see, that's the name of it. Gaunt DL. Gaunt DL. Period CHD. Space, and then it's backslash period backslash physical drive, and they show it in all caps here. I don't think you have to. I'm just going to do it lowercase. Physical drive. Let me make sure my spelling's correct. Okay, physical drive, and then you put the number, and we know it's 1. That's where we want to send it. So that's it. Here we go. It's not recognizing internal external. Oh, I did it wrong again. Let me bring this back up. Press the up arrow. Bring my whole line back up. I forgot to put the version in. It's version 8.3, so I have to put the 8.3 after CHDMAN, just because that's an older version. Okay, here we go. And it's working. Hard drive light staying fully active on the system here, which is going to be active regardless because you've got 2 drives doing something right now. You've got the backup partition transferring the Gauntlet DL CHD, and you have the Maxter 10 gigger, and it's taking the CHD image and applying it to that drive. So right now it's showing, it's extracting the different hunks, and it's got 788,256 to do. And it's already at 100,000, so it's not going to take that long. It's only been probably less than a minute. Probably won't even take 8 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and stop right now, and I'll come back when this is almost finished. While I'm waiting on that to build the image on the 10 gig Maxter, I'm also wiping my flash drive here. Already have it wiped, and I'm transferring the Gauntlet Legends CHD to it. We have the 1.6 version of Gauntlet Legends here, CHD file, and I'm transferring it right now to the flash drive, and then I'm going to transfer it over to the hard drive on the backup partition of this little test rig I've got sitting over here, and we'll make a hard drive with that CHD right after we do this one. And I'll have to swap the chipset out in the Vegas 777 board set that I have hooked up to the Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet. I'll have to swap the Gauntlet Dart Legacy chips out and put the Gauntlet Legends chips in that, and then we can test that 1.6 drive that we build off of this CHD. So this is a little faster on this system. It does have the 2.0 USB ports, so it's only taken, it's only got 4 minutes left now, and well, 3 minutes. It claimed it was going to take about 8 minutes. I think it's only been about 2, so it's probably going to be about 4 or 5 minutes to transfer, whereas it took 20 something to 30 minutes to transfer. Well, this is a smaller CHD file. This is about a gig. The other one was about 1.5 gigs, but the other one took close to 30 minutes to transfer 1.5 gigs off of that little flash drive. But I just don't feel like hooking up the network and everything right now or burning it to disk, so I'm just doing it this way. So anyway, we're actually just about done, so I can just continue the video here after I've been running my mouth. You can see, hopefully it'll stop with no errors. I'll back up a little bit here. There he goes. Extraction complete. Didn't error out or nothing. Did not error out. And I think I will actually leave this just as it is, and I'm gonna, while this is finishing transferring this to the flash drive, I guess, well, I can't leave it just as it is because I can't hot swap a hard drive, so I'm going to have to shut this system down. I wanted to take that out and put another drive on there to make another image, but not very safe to do that with IDE drives. If it was hot swappable, maybe. But we're going to have to shut this down. Got our drive built there. Got to go back out of Windows and everything and shut Windows down, and you know, we'll hook this up to the Gauntlet Dart Legacy board set, and we'll check it out and see if it works. Okay, we got our Gauntlet Legends CHD transferred to this little flash drive here. and we're transferring it to the backup partition on our little test rig here, and it'll be done here in about 20 minutes, it says. So it's only a 1 gigabyte one, but at this slow early USB speed, you know, that's about as fast as it gets. So we want to transfer that and just go ahead and leave it on this backup partition along with the Gauntlet Dart Legacy CHD. But while we're doing that, we can go ahead and do our first test here. And I got my fingers crossed. We've taken the 10 gig Maxter out of the test rig, and we have it fully connected up to the Gauntlet Dart Legacy board set here, or the Vega 777 board set with Gauntlet Dart Legacy currently installed. And that's the old hard drive, or the one that's been running in there. It's an old Quantum. Can't be sure if that's the original. I still need to look that model up and see if that's the original ones that usually came with these kits, or I can compare it to the one that I installed in my other system, even though I have the cage on it. I think I've got some pics somewhere. But anyways, got the 10 gig Maxter, and it's fully imaged, it's connected, got power and data hooked up properly, and this is the moment of truth basically, guys. So I'm going to flip the power switch on. Got a tone. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? It says loading. Oh my goodness, it worked. First try. First try. Version 2.52. Dart Legacy 2.52 success. First try, guys. Some people have so much trouble with this. I'm glad it lucked out and worked for us. We did everything properly, and she's running. Version Dart Legacy 2.52. We did not change the ROM chips out, so all the way up to version 2.52 they must still be running on the 2.4 ROMs, I imagine. Maybe it's just been a hard drive update. I know I'm all the way up to version 1.6 on my Gauntlet Legends, and it runs on a 1.5 boot ROM. So you don't always have to replace the boot ROM with a higher version if the hard drive is updated, I guess. That's what I'm thinking. But all our lights are working just fine. Got your little LED indicator there spinning around, giving you data every now and then when you're booting up and stuff, and when the system's running it's usually going crazy like that. Right now it's loading. It's showing, I imagine that's loading from the hard drive. I'd have to look those codes up, and some of those codes people can't ever figure out. I know a lot of people get a stuck 8 and they can't figure out if it's a bad drive, a video card, or what. But anyway, the system is running very quiet. You can hear this drive get real close, but it's very quiet. And it just looks awesome. Haven't seen the first hiccup. A lot of people say they get I think they said something like a 3 count, like it errors out 3 times and then it'll load the game. Well, we didn't get even 1 error, so it worked perfectly. We'll just hit a button here and see.
Enter initials to build a character. Select a character. Welcome, Rule Wizard. Select a journey.
We're running on 8-way joysticks in this cabinet too. You have to set dip switches to make all that happen. Sorry if it's blurring up some. May not be perfectly in focus, guys.
Ice Domain. You are now entering Arctic Docks.
know it's a bit fuzzy.
Find the exit.
This thing is just running smooth. I mean smooth. Not a hiccup, not a loading problem, nothing. Beautiful. I'm just running around one-handed here.
Join in anytime.
It's working, guys. I'm going to continue on and try Gauntlet Legends. We did it, Luke. I'll get one of these drives for this one out to you pretty soon, and hopefully we'll have success with this Gauntlet Legends and kind of that other little thing you were wanting me to do, if we could get that done. I won't mention it in case I get this video up before you kind of put a video up of it yourself. Well, I just figured I'd go into test menus and do a little test on the drive here that we made. And I see, first time I've been in this board set in a long time, in the menus and stuff, and its flashing battery needs to be replaced. Now, I wasn't doing that before, so this thing, I've had it stored for probably over a year, but it's just been sitting here in the office. But the battery is I think what they call a Dallas real-time clock. It seems like it's got some type of lithium battery and a crystal or something in there. I'm gonna have to see how hard that is to replace. It doesn't really bother me that much, but I'm pretty sure it probably helps save some of the game adjustments and stuff too, so I'd like to get that changed out. But we're going to the disk test here. Drive read test. It even identified the drive as a Maxter. Logical sectors available. DMA mode 2. And it's doing tests. Usually if there's a critical error, you're going to find out pretty quick when you start doing tests like this. But I'm not going to bore you with sitting here and doing it forever. I just wanted to make sure there weren't any immediate errors right now. File system check. Disk space available 10 gigabyte. File system occupies 2.5 gigabytes. Total files used 2,888. And it does passes, you know, checking the files and doing file checksum comparisons and stuff. Make sure that the files aren't corrupted in any way. And up there where it shows your file system occupies 2.5 gigabytes, you may be saying, wait a minute, I thought you said that image was 1.5. Well, if it's a CHD file, it's compressed. Well, we're about to work on the CHD for Gauntlet Legends 1.6, and I just wanted to show Luke, hey, you know, remember when you had the video up of the giant bees that were flying around when you were out visiting some sites out there in Japan? Well, I told you, I said maybe we can get your bees to fight my red devil scorpions. Well, that's what I'm talking about. He was running across the wall over here beside my calendar. I had to get a hold of him real quick, but yeah, he's pretty much dead now. About squished him, but that's what a red devil scorpion looks like. They're not that big, but you can see my hand there. They feel about like a hornet though when they sting. At least that's what I'm told. I've been lucky enough, even though I've lived here since about 99 or so, I've been lucky not to get stung, even though we do have some get in the house occasionally. Like this is the first one so far, and we're in May now. Usually they start coming out around April, and we'll see a few of these during the summer months, and then they just disappear by the time it gets cooler. But don't like finding them anyway, because they can sting the piss out of you. But he's dead. It's kind of fitting to have a scorpion on the Mortal Kombat 1, isn't it? Get over here! He don't have a very big stinger, but you can see there is a nice little barb on there. Okay, we're extracting the CHD to the second 10 gigabyte Maxter drive. This is Gauntlet Legends again, version 1.6. And just sitting here waiting on this. It's a little smaller CHD, shouldn't take quite as long. We're almost at 100,000 hunks, I guess you would say. It needs 624,527, so hadn't even been about maybe a minute, so it's going to be maybe 5 minutes at the most. It's pretty quick. It's pretty awesome, I think. But we're extracting that, and when we get it extracted and get this drive built, in that box right there, I've got my had my Gauntlet Dark Legacy kit in it, but I put my Gauntlet Legends kit in it, and when I swapped it out in the cabinet, I'm going to take the chips out of there and install it in this Vega 777 board set that I have hooked to the Mortal Kombat 1, and put the newly imaged hard drive onto that system, and we'll see if it boots up and runs Gauntlet Legends. Hopefully we'll be successful. Okay guys, we've disconnected the Gauntlet Legends drive that we just imaged, and of course I used the ribbon cable straight off the Gauntlet board set over there, the Vega 777 setup. 77777. Never can remember if I say 3 sevens. 777. That's what I should do. But anyway, I just took the chips out that were in there. They're in this little kind of protective casing here. And this is the ones that were in there. This was Gauntlet Dark Legacy version 2.4 probably. I don't know exactly what version is on the boot ROM or whatever, but it works with the version 2.52 CHD that we put on the drive. Okay, so it was running 2.41 with the drive that is connected into that bracket there. But anyway, we got the Gauntlet boot for Gauntlet Legends version 1.6 that came out of my original cab. That's when it came in when I bought my original cabinet. And the U37 right there says, let's see where we at right there. It says Gauntlet 27-inch U37. And I don't think those ever get updated with any kind of updates. As long as you've got that one, it's going to work with Legends. As long as you got the DL or Gauntlet Dark Legacy one, and it's the proper one to work with Gauntlet Dark Legacy, then it'll work with any version of the boot ROM and hard drive, I believe. And of course you have the sound ROM right there, and it's interchangeable between the two different ones, Gauntlet Legends and Gauntlet Dark Legacy. But let's take the drive and set it here temporarily. Gotta go ahead and hook our ribbon cable up. Bear with me if I'm doing this slow because I'm doing it with one hand. Hold on just a sec. I'll put the camera down because I've got to press this cable on. Okay, we have it on, and make sure that your little red part of the ribbon cable, that one data line, goes downwards on the way I've got these boards set up. You want it to go towards the video card, because number 39 and 40 pins is up here on the top near your boot ROM. So we got that connected in. All we need is a power connection now. You got our power connected, and you want to keep these drives set to master. I think that's the way the original ones were. I'm not sure if they'll work if you accidentally set them to cable select or slave, so keep them set. That little jumper right there, you want it in the rightmost position the way you're looking at it now, all the way over on the right 2 pins nearest to the data cable. But here comes the moment of truth for this one, guys. It worked with Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Now we've changed the boot ROM, the U37 ROM out, and we've got a freshly imaged hard drive here. So let's see if we're successful. If we are, it's going to be like incredible, because that'll be 2 for 2. So I'm going to kick on the power now. Here it's spinning up. Numbers are doing their thing. Setting RAM default values. It's because I changed the game out, I guess. It works. It works, guys. Version 1.6. Setting RAM default values. That must be stuff, settings and stuff, like when you go in the menu and you change settings and stuff like that. If you change the whole game out, the chips and the hard drive and everything, it's probably going to give you that error. It's going to put everything back to default. You're going to have to go in and change some options and stuff. Anything set with the dip switches will probably be okay though. Looks like it is functioning. We did not get any errors. It just set that BRAM to the default values. And I tell you what, that drive's running pretty quiet too. The other one was pretty quiet. I mean, you can hear it when you get down here at it. But you install this in a cabinet, you won't hear that at all. But everything seems to be working. This is just awesome. Figured I'd have more trouble than this. I guess it's good that I kind of read up on how to do it first. And I think this game actually looks very good on standard res. It does not look as detailed as it does on medium res, obviously, but just something about a standard res monitor, whenever it's clear and it's got good focus, it just, you know, I don't know. I like seeing the pixels kind of. I think it looks really good with this game. Let's just make sure things are working. Oh, it's not set for free play. Let's see if I can put some credits in. I don't know. Let's see. I think we got a credit button on here. Okay, that works through the JAMA harness.
Enter initials to build a character.
Ooh. Let's see if we can turn this down. No, ain't gonna work with the volume pot because that's connected to MK. We're gonna have to go into settings. See if we can go into settings here. If it'll let us. Yeah, of course it still says battery needs to be replaced because it's the same board set. Just because you change the ROMs out in the hard drive, it's still going to give you that error. EEPROM version 1.5, November 17, 1998. Guts 1.5, January 14, 1999. Main, January 14, 1999, and serial number. But let's see. Let's just go down real quick to just quick disk test. Hard drive connected, yes. It detected a Maxter, and it's just doing some tests here. Megabyte a second. It shows it transferring. It shows a good bit lower than the other one though. The other one I thought was about 14 or 16 on the transfer rate. Now this may have something to do with it being a different game. I'm not sure the way it accesses the hard drive, but those access times there in megabytes a second, it's averaging out somewhere around 8, and I could have swore the other one said like 14 or 16. I mean, that would be like close to twice as fast, but this seemed like it loaded just fine. But let's go back. That was the same model hard drive too. File system check here. And it reads it correctly as disk space, 9.8 gigabyte. File system occupies 2.5 gigabyte, which I didn't think it would occupy that much, because that CHD was all the way down to 1 gigabyte, but it busted open and it went all the way up to 2.5 gigabytes in size. I'm not sure when it compresses those images from like another Gauntlet Legends hard drive if it includes empty space with it, and then it pops it back open and the file system will be like 2.5 gigabyte, even though data might only be like 1 point something gigabyte. I'm not sure, but it's checking files. This looks a little different than the file check screen for Gauntlet Dark Legacy. But anyway, I'm not going to tinker with it too much right now. I'm going to go back out. Let's see. We need to sounds, just adjust volume. Okay, that's good enough. And game options, let's put it on free play at least. Let's see, where's free play? I bet you it must be in coin settings or something. Coin options, pricing options, free play. There we go. Yes. And see what the dip switch settings say. Yeah, 8-way joysticks. I was the same way as it would always be. Standard resolution, so everything's set right there. Exit the game. And I'm sorry, it's noisy in here. We do have the washing, probably the dryer going in the next room. I'm always letting you guys hear our clothes washing and drying, but that's life. So it loads up pretty quick to me. I think it actually loads faster than the old drives. Seems like it does. Now see, I don't know that time why it didn't show the version number. See, now it shows the serial number and registered players. Now before, right above that, it said version number. And I don't know why it didn't do that. Maybe because I didn't power the game off. I just went into the setup and went out. I bet you if I power the game off and come back in, it'll show it. I guess there's an option in there to turn the sound on for this, and I didn't do it. Let me do it. Haha. Go back in there and change that right quick. This thing you got to remember about MK, it's got a, instead of just pressing a momentary switch to go into the setup menus, you have to flip a switch and it holds its position, and you flip it back to go back out. So it works with the JAMA harness on here and lets you go to the setup here, but if I don't remember to flip it back, then when I try to turn on Mortal Kombat, if I disconnect this board set, it's going to be stuck in test mode probably. Let's see. Sound test, monitor test. Let's see. Audio mode stereo. That might be part of my problem right there. Mono, because we're in a mono cabinet right now. Audio in a track often, we'll say always. Four player, one cabinet. Two players, one blue, one red. Okay, let's try it again. Probably still won't show the version number down there at the bottom, but that's not really what I'm concerned with. I know how to do it if I power off the machine and power it back up. Okay, let's just let it go through until it gets to its little demo showing Garm summoning Scorn. And again, I'm sorry if this looks kind of fuzzy. I could set this to manual focus and try to focus it, but it seems to have trouble on this standard res monitor focusing.
In an ancient time, a greedy young
There's our audio.
released a great evil upon the world. This demon, Scorn, fearing the power of the runestones, cast them to the far reaches of the fire. Enter initials to build a
Free play is working, and if you see, you only have two places for only 2 characters, because you only have 2 joysticks on this cabinet, so you can set it that way like I did, and it'll only have 2 places.
Select a character.
Still shows up there player 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know why it does that. It seems like an error to me. Something they overlooked.
Welcome, Blue Warrior.
Welcome, Blue Warrior.
Select a journey.
Select a journey. You Conan look-alike. Let's go to the forest.
The Forest Realm. You are now entering the Acid Swamp. Find the exit.
Ooh, this does look different. Usually this is green. If you remembered in the original, on the medium res monitor, it's green. I said, we're playing Gauntlet Legends, and you've seen me make some videos of this when I was doing my video card tests. It's supposed to be like green.
Avoid dangerous objects.
Die! Die! Magic doesn't look quite as devastating either. Get this thing to focus. Actually looks pretty good though. That looks pretty good. That's really the way I'm seeing it right here. Die, spider. Huff and puff and chop your house down. The guys, look, it's working. It's working. This is awesome. I took a beat up computer that was going to be thrown away. Die. I don't have magic. But anyway, used an old computer that was going to be tossed out, rebuilt it, used that to rebuild a hard drive to put into an old arcade board set, which, you know, if my hard drive wasn't working, that would have been cool. I could have resurrected it, you know, but it was working, but it's good to have a backup. So now I can get this one and the other one shipped off to Luke, and hopefully these will make it to you safe, Luke. I think these will work fine. Like I'm saying, I'm running version 1.5 boot ROM, and it's running with the 1.6 version. Go ahead and die. But anyway, it's running with the version 1.6 hard drive, running fine, and that's the way it always ran in my cabinet too. And the Gauntlet Dark Legacy is running 2.52. and it always ran with version 2.4 in my cabinet, but the ROMs are fine. They still work with 2.52, so I want to package those drives up real good and try to get them off to you. Got one more little thing here you wanted me to do, and I'm going to try to do that for you. Going to have to do it tomorrow because it's about, later than I thought. It's 1:20 a.m. Thought it might be about 1 a.m., but it's 1:20 a.m. Well, guys, it's the next day, and I've done some more testing on this drive, and had it running with the game going for about an hour. It's running rock solid, no errors, no problems at all. This is the Gauntlet Legends version 1.6 drive we created with a Maxter 10 gig IDE drive, and I went ahead and put it in here about, I'd say maybe an hour ago, and went into the file system check, and I've just been letting it go through file system passes, just going through all the files and just kind of checking the integrity of what we've got recorded on the drive. And it's went through, as you can see, 24 complete passes, and there's not been any problems, nothing that it's put on the screen. So I mean, this thing, it seems completely rock solid. I'm going to go back out of this. Like I say, this has been running about an hour. Go back up to the drive read test.
And I'm going to let this go for, you know, probably another hour. I just want to make sure these drives are pretty rock solid before I ship them off to Luke. And you know, these may be the ones I ship to him. I'm going to make some more. These are the Maxters, but I also have some, I think they're AdTech. They're made by IBM Death Star drives, and they look brand new. I got them in a set from a local flea market, and they appeared to me to be taken out of some TiVo units or something, because when I looked at the drives, they had, you know, some very strange directory structures, and just reading the names of the directories, and had a few files in there that seemed to be some small video files. It seemed like they were installed in some type of a TiVo type system or some type of DVR or something. And I got maybe about 4 of those from somebody at a flea market, and they look absolutely brand new, still in anti-static little baggies, and all of them worked, but one of them was really loud, and so I set it aside and put a sticker on it. But the other 3, they worked fine, and I blanked them out and reformatted them. I just put them up, you know, putting a date on them when I had tested them. So that might be the ones that I send to Luke, because they seem to be pretty good, and they're a little larger capacity. They may be slightly newer. I think, you know, I think Luke was kind of interested in some that were maybe a little bit newer, so they might be a little more reliable. I think basically how much use it's seen is probably going to be maybe a bigger factor than how new they are. But you know, sometimes the newer ones are a little faster, have a little more up-to-date technology and all. But if you get too large on those drives, you know, you're going, in my opinion, way out of spec of what the original drive was in the machine. So you may be risking, you know, a problem, you know, with a larger drive, or something that's maybe you know, slightly different spec, maybe the speed or something like that. Maybe it's accessing data too fast, and you know, I don't know how the system is set up to you know, work with a drive that may be running slightly faster than what the original was. You know, you're never going to get one that runs exactly like the original, and I'm sure the systems can, you know, adjust to some of that. But you get too slow or too fast, you know, in an exorbitant amount, then it probably would cause some kind of problem. But anyways, I might make some images on those AdTechs and just test them out. It'd be interesting to see if they work okay. And one way or another, I'm gonna put all these through kind of a burn-in test and make sure they're all working good. And that one right there, it's still working great. The Gauntlet Dart Legacy one that we put in, I ran some testing, not quite as harsh as this, you know, on it, but you know, I was wanting to get to this and get this imaged, so I'll probably put the Gauntlet Dart Legacy in and let it do a little tougher burn in to make sure, you know, go through all of its built-in read tests and stuff that's in the menus and stuff. But we're going to let this run for a while and see how many passes. It says test completed 0, so we're going to see how many passes this will go through and do it without any errors. Well, we're still running the Gauntlet Legends version 1.6 hard drive, and I've had it running for about 2 more hours, and it's been running through these hard drive tests here, and it's completed 11 complete tests in the drive read test section, and it's, you know, it seems to be working without any errors at all. It takes a long time to go through these tests as compared to the last ones that were in the last clip. But it's went through 11 full rounds of these tests and not one error, no problems at all, still running rock solid. So I think we're doing fine with this drive. Hopefully it'll last a long time.
All of Legends.
Alright, got a hard drive for Luke running in this cab, Gauntlet Legends cab with Dart Legacy running on it. Showing the hard drive we got imaged for him. And over here, got the other drive running. Gauntlet Legends 1.6. Imaged that hard drive, got it going good. So as you see, you know, these are running great. I've been turning them on and off for several days, making sure they're stable. Everything's running great. I haven't had one error. I haven't had one failed boot. I did tests, went into menus and done tests on the file system. Just, you know, let it access the hard drive for, you know, multiple passes. And both drives are running great, no problems. So I think we're set on those drives. We're going to get those boxed up tonight and ship them out tomorrow to Luke. And I'm working on a little something else for him. I don't know if he wants people to know about it yet. It's just a little something he's working on, and I'm going to help do a little something for him there if I could. And we don't know if it's going to work out yet. So got a little something else I'm going to work on. And anyway, I might make a clip of that now, but I'm not going to put it in this video. So I'm going to box this up with another thing or two there and send it on to Luke. And he's been good enough to go ahead and pay shipping and everything and send me a little extra through my PayPal account just to send this stuff to him. And, you know, I was more than happy to do it. I had these extra drives around, and they're not doing anything but sitting in boxes right now. I just kept them as backups, you know, and they're certainly going to do a lot better as, you know, serving as a hard drive for an arcade board than sitting in an old box somewhere. So I haven't used them, and they're still, you know, good and functional, no problems with them at all. And we're just going to send them on to him, and maybe he can make us some videos of some gameplay if he gets these going with his Vegas 777 sets. But anyway, cut away from here now, and talk to you guys later.